Okay, guys. Whew, I haven't really been keeping to my own schedule, so I'm gonna keep this. I don't want to say I'm gonna keep this brief, but we're gonna do a multiversity read actually of the Just, which is going to be kind of like a throwback to like Tiger Beat days and that kind of stuff. So I'll get right into it, and it's going to be a way to talk about the multiverse. And you guys, guess what? I got my belly button re-pierced today, so we're back. It went off without a hitch. It was awesome. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna pull this up a bit so you can hear me a bit better. We're going to go into Multiversity. I'm Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. I hope you guys are doing wonderfully wherever you are in the multiverse. If you're not familiar with Barbara Gordon or Babs Gordon, I had this whole thing planned of, the difference between the movie universes and the animated universes and the comic book canon stuff, and like, what does it all mean? Does it all matter? That kind of stuff. So let's go into the Batman movie cinematic universe as far as I know it, because I first actually came onto Batman in this with the 60s show, with Adam West and Yvonne Craig playing Batgirl herself. Red Heron, I saw you step in. Playboy Lilos, thanks for liking the live. And Red Heron, you were saying how you feel like Jean Grey is like your feminine side. I can so see that. Psychic abilities. There's also something, you have red in your name, right? And redheads and a propensity for like psychic abilities. I don't know. Could be a little bit of a stereotype, but maybe there's something there, right? So let me see. I want to see how I want my angles to be. So we're going to do a multiversity read today, which is Grant Morrison. I was actually planning on doing a different Batgirl read today. Yeah. There. Kind of like you're in the jungle. I'm trying some different setups coming up, and I remember seeing the Adam Conjura, hi, that Adam West, yeah, on YTV. Just on TV. Well, I watched YTV here in Canada, but I'm assuming different networks had different shows that were on repeat. How they bought different storylines and all that kind of stuff. One thing I really loved about the old Batman show is that they typically had one episode that would like drop off on like a cliffhanger. So you'd have to like wait till next week to see what happened. So I'm trying to facilitate the same kind of thing on these lives with the storytelling of comic books. Comic books are kind of like the same. I feel like it's the same idea as TV shows, right? It's kind of like serialized, like cereal boxes. So daily, it's a self-contained story. So if you've never watched the show before, and we're going to read, oh, hi, Ross. Welcome. I'm actually going to do a Birds of Prey 80s dance routine starring me, and me. But I'm going to be casting, I think, for a roster of performance artists to join my little team. So stay tuned for other characters. Like, I know that you guys have requested certain characters, like Wonder Woman is a big one, because I do work out, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, like Wonder Woman, Diana, she's such a mother figure to Supergirl and Kara, and she's basically a goddess. I look at her like Storm, and like I don't know if I am that energy signature necessarily. Dan, hold on, let's see here. I was saying that I had a censored comment. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Okay. I apologize if I missed some of your comments. So sometimes TikTok is like, we censored some of your comments to make it safe for you. But I'm like, but then you let other comments through that are like offensive. And then I missed some good ones. 100, does your husband dance or only DJ? So story about how me and my hubby met. We've been married for like 10 years now. Um, Childhood crush of mine was actually Dick Grayson, the first Robin, and Burt Ward, who played him in the 60s show. I had a big crush on him too. I don't know, I like had this thing for really like sweet, nice guys. Yeah. Um, but he doesn't just DJ. He's only learned how to DJ recently. We met personal training at a gym together. So we actually spent a big chunk of our lives traveling the world, doing fitness competitions and modeling and stuff like that. It's yeah, it was a lot of fun. I went to Vegas a few times. I did like the flex bikini model search. I competed in fitness. My It's funny, right? Because when I was retiring from fitness, I mean, I'm 40, right? I went and got my belly button re-pierced today, you guys. Look, I don't know if you can see. Wait, let me just make sure I'm mirrored properly. Multiversity, you can read that. Hi, Dandy Money Man. How's it going, birthday twin? So, actually, that's a good segue into the story. Young 40, yeah. So the girl today who did my piercing, she had to ID me. I give her my ID and she looks at me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing." Like, come on. I'm like, "You're not dead after 35." Like, whatever. But she was like, she's like, "Oh, that's great." Like, she's like, "You look really good." So I was like, "Thank you very much." Um, but I went to a place, if you're in Toronto, it's called Colibri. Colibri. It means hummingbird. And on Tuesdays, they do any piercing for $25. So, I love Cassandra Kane. We're Veda oh, hey, Gwen Stacy. Hello, welcome, you guys. And Cadillac Speedster. Hey, hey. I am the first Batgirl, but I do love all my Batgirls, right? Cassandra Kane, Stephanie Brown, as well as, the version that Alicia Silverstone played in the movie. I actually, unpopular opinion, I liked Batman and Robin. I actually like I think they call it I was about to call it the Keaton universe. That's not right. The Burton universe. Even though I don't think Tim Burton did the later movies. We're gonna go into that before we get into Multiversity. We're gonna read from here today, you guys. I typically do read you being a character in the comic book, but I've been doing a lot of work lately in the back and working on some new cosplays for you guys. One being Miss Marvel, Mary Marvel. I really love Mary Batson a lot. So Billy Batson's adopted sister. I relate to her a lot. Who else? Starfire. I was working on my Starfire cosplay. So Dick Grayson, his other lady love is Starfire, depending on what universe you're in. Cadillac Speedster, yes, my crew, my cosmic crew. You always know. Burton did 1 and 2. Who is your favorite Robin? Mine is Tim. Oh, I have Tim in Identity Crisis, I think. Tim Drake. I like Tim Drake. I like Jason Todd too back then, but my favorite is Dick Grayson. I have a thing, and this is just a personal opinion, for the original holder of the mantle or the avatar, right? So Dick Grayson being the first Robin. It's fun fact though, Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing, that was done by a different writer. Marv Wolfman, who wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths, also him and George Perez also technically created Nightwing, even though they leveraged Dick Grayson, who was created as, the first Robin in the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin. And then once Batgirl joined, you now have a Bat family, which is kind of funny in the DC universe, right? Like the Bat family is kind of dysfunctional, but they are a family. Like if you think about a lot of the other superheroes, they tend to really work in isolation or in like group, like besides the Justice League, right? And the Green Lantern, they're more of like a team, I guess, as opposed to like a family. So I relate to, what family isn't dysfunctional. I think it's just a matter of taking that dysfunction, taking these things that we feel like are shadowy, yucky, shameful parts of ourselves, and we use it to our advantage. And we use it to, by looking right at it, we can take those monsters and maybe like ride them, right? Araldoza, hey, welcome. Red Heron, thank you for the heart me. I'm going to send you a little message soon, very soon, Red Heron. So, quick disclosure, I'm going to talk a little bit today about what I did today, and then we'll go into the read. We're going to read Multiversity. So I have a 3-point plan of what we're going to talk about. Red Heron. I had a dream, so I love birds, right? So funny because Batgirl and Black Canary, they are the founders of the birds of prey. If we look at things from like a movie universe standpoint, they made Harley Quinn create the birds of prey. And like, honestly, Margot Robbie is gorgeous. I would have maybe preferred her being Black Canary. I don't know if she can sing, but like, that's another thing. Who could I have gotten as Black Canary? Who would have been a great Black Canary? Who's got the pipes? A sonic scream that can shatter steel. I'm going to put it out there. Who is my Black Canary? Who can handle that? Because she's also like a singer as well. Oh, thanks, Wingless Dad. Lots of love back at you. Who do I think is the most underrated Bat family member? Mine is Azrael. Oh my gosh. Don't hate me. I'm not as familiar with that member. How is he related to the Bat family? Christina A. Wait. I'm maybe missing my train of thought. Okay, where am I going with this? Bat family, dysfunctional Bat family. Oh, yes. Red Heron, I was going on a track because I was going on off about birds and the birds of prey and how I like Margot Robbie, but like they didn't really, because she was so popular being crazy Harley Quinn, who's like hot in her own right. But they're all hot, you know what I mean? They all kind of deserve their own spotlight to shine. But I get it. DC was trying to compete with Marvel, what Marvel had already initially done, and they're just trying to get a Justice League movie out there. But, we all suffered as a result. But I will say this. I'm kind of like one of those silver lining people. I'm happy if it brings more people to the lore, right? Because behind everything there is the source material that is always there, and you can't take that away, even if you like overwrite or put stuff kind of crap on top. It doesn't matter. So, John McNary, hi. Let's see here. I wished Margot was in the original Harley Quinn suit, Jester. Yes. Yeah, they could have made that look hot, and Margot could have pulled that off, She got the body to pull something like that off. Come on now, look at the cosplayers who make that look hot. Let's see here. Also, like Poison Ivy, Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin. Nice Poison Ivy. Even though that movie, like, looking back, it was very campy, but I think that's the point. And that's also the beauty of the Bat family. You guys and your gifts of my live stream was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Or like, oh, the technicalness. Okay, let me just make sure I have all the comments. I'm gonna come back. Batwoman getting next level comic. Batwoman, oh, that's something to mention, you guys. I do kind of look Batwoman-y, though. Batwoman and Batgirl are not the same, right? Just like how Superwoman and Supergirl are not the same. More on that later. We're not going to talk about that today, though. Real talk with Don Robson. Hi, Bane. Hi. One thing, too, about Batgirl is that she actually is friends with a lot of so-called villains. She has a lot of conversations with Nightwing about how oftentimes she doesn't feel like she's fighting bad, doesn't feel like she's fighting bad guys so much as she's fighting the city. And I was going to do a little special one night about Gotham City itself as being haunted, right? This idea that there's some like, like Shining. We talked some Stanley Kubrick stuff before, and like, haunted places, that kind of stuff. Julie Newmar, Catwoman. Oh yeah, John, right now you're speaking my language. I don't know if you guys have seen. Oh my gosh, who was the Wonder Woman back in the day who was hot? So there was I'll find this episode and I will put this on my YouTube when I do my Batgirl next, of like my favorite clips of Batgirl. And Yvonne Craig's, like, it's the funny thing about back in the day with these TV shows, the girls always like getting like kidnapped, right? And the bad guys are always like standing around like going off about their whole scheme and like waiting for, to. So Batgirl's like in chains. It's pretty hot though. She's like in chains being, I don't know who's captured her, but she's captured. And hot Wonder Woman comes in. Who was the actress? Let me see if you guys know. No techno music. Tomorrow we're gonna probably have some music. I'm gonna let you guys know why I've been going through my own like mental health crisis, and I've come back around the other side, and I think I've got the way I'm gonna be doing my content, my comic book reads is gonna be much more organized, which is why I'm playing as Babs tonight, because Barbara actually in many comic book renditions is actually a librarian. And the Dewey Decibel System. Can you imagine going into a library and nothing being organized and trying to find the book you want to find? Like whether or not it's a recipe versus like, a smutty romance novel versus like a map. Everything's just like all over the place. It needs to be like organized. So like I've had to do that my own thing with my own stuff. And it's boring. But all that stuff, like when it comes to your own creative works, like sometimes you need to do that stuff before the fun can happen. So even when it comes to us doing our live DJ sets, and I have been putting together dances because I do a lot of freestyle dances, you guys, right? My little go fun. But there's also a level of still always being a student, always being all teachers or students as well. So I've been spending some time learning some new skills. So hopefully when we come back live again, it'll be something a little bit better than even before, like my angles and stuff, and even the sound quality. I've been trying to figure out a way to do that. Yes. The City and Perception. Yes, it is story time tonight, Red Heron. I hope Catwoman in the DCU suit is purple. Oh, that purple suit, baby. I know what you're talking about. I have a cosplay. She's not my friend yet. She's my Instagram friend, but she has the purple Catwoman suit cosplay. And I was like, girl. Linda Carter, John McNair. Yes. So now I can finish my story. So Batgirl's captured. Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, comes in to rescue her. And she spends a whole bunch of time doing these like crazy flips and stuff. And while she's flipping around, she basically gets captured by the bad guys. So now Batgirl and Wonder Woman are captured in chains. And it's kind of hot, but at the same time, like Wonder Woman, if you weren't busy showing off your skills, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation, but I get it. I work for an Uma Thurman Poison Ivy. Yeah. Uma Thurman also I kind of just like her as a human being too, right? I saw an interview with her and Howard Stern after she had broken up with Ethan Hawke. So I didn't know this, but Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke have a daughter who's on Stranger Things. Kind of funny connection there. But Howard Stern was trying to like be this kind of dick interviewer where he was like, hey, Uma, Ethan Hawke, he's like kind of short and he's this and that, because I think he cheated on her and stuff. But Uma was so classy, right? She's like, you don't need to like talk bad about your ex. She's like, I still really love him. I still really like him. So I don't need to like talk ish about my ex. And so I feel like there's something to be said there about knowing how to like be classy in the whole situation, because breakups, all of that kind of stuff where things end, even when we think about like Batgirl and Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson, they have a lot of comic books where they have like this childhood first romance, right? And then what does that love look like when you grow up, right? And then, your love matures and perhaps they're not the same people that you marry. And I mean, also to your jobs, like being a superhero. So that's a little bit different. So even in your own life, too, when you're whoever is your counterpart is going to be just as unique and special as you are, right? And so I think we also need to have forgiveness in those that we choose to let into our relationships because we are mirroring each other, right? And I've realized, I spent, oh, this is a good way to segue into my own story, or my own personal story. Let's see here. Nightwing and Harley. Oh, did that happen? I feel like Harley would. Who doesn't want to seduce Dick Grayson? I feel like Dick Grayson's kind of like the James Bond of the DC universe, and like his butt and his hat. I do. I will say this though. Top crush in the DC universe is looking more and more like Hal Jordan to me these days. I'll explain why in a future thing. And Keaton, thanks for reposting. They downplayed Wonder Woman's strength in the TV show. They sure did. I think, like, as I said, Wonder Woman's literally a goddess. And that's why I have discomfort cosplaying her. I feel like I'm like cosplaying my mom. I don't know, it's like a weird thing where I'm not old enough yet to cosplay you, Wonder Woman. I'm not grown up yet. Batgirl, Supergirl, but Wonder Woman to be finally a woman and step into that. Maybe one day soon. So, oh, Uma can sing. I did not know that. You guys, I am working on funding my own movie, and I have, how like Tarantino. Oh, it was my fan. So crazy what went on when I did that. Tarantino brought life back to certain actors like Travolta or Hattori Hanzo. I forget who the guy is who played, but because he loved movies, like Tarantino said, he didn't go to film school. He watched films, right? So I have this dream of like, giving work back to certain stars that have like, let's say like Britney Spears or Mariah Carey. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a role for you as a goddess in my movie. And you get to sing your own songs. You just have to like give me the license for it for this movie. So I have this, maybe it'll happen. Who knows? Because copyright and all this kind of stuff in the way we share art these days, it's all really just become really fucked up. Um, there's too much, like I understand paying the artist for the work. You should always have credit where credit is due. And artists, I do think you should be able to make a living off of doing what it is that you're meant to do here, right? Not, work shifts at, a barista at the coffee shop and then do auditions later over here and then like, do your dream part-time. But some major changes have to happen at a societal level for us to have art be a top priority again, even though it is necessary in our world. So let's see here. Well, me first started. Sonny Chiba. Yes, John McNary, you're awesome. Kurt Russell, I do love as well. Holy cow. John Carpenter, I love him as a filmmaker as well. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Apocalypse trilogy that John Carpenter did, right? With The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and then Mouth of Madness. And Mouth of Madness has a lot of that was filmed here in Toronto. Craziness, right? I saw you, Bat Signal. Oh, well, Alex, I did. Beam of Light came out to the Bat family to gather round for story time. We're going to read Multiversity. Galaxy Star. Okay, so now that I've caught up with the chat, we're going to read from Multiversity, which is by Grant Morrison. I believe it was 95 this story came out. Reddit Heron, Mouth of Madness is not officially part of a trilogy, but in the John Carpenter repertoire of films, it's known as like the accumulation of, it's called the Apocalypse trilogy. So if you look at The Thing with Kurt Russell, and you look at Prince of Darkness is not as well known. It deals with like vampires kind of, and like Satan vampire, and It's not as strong, but it has stuff in there as well. And then the third one, Mouth of Madness, with Sam Neill in it, who is also in Event Horizon. And funny, we rewatched, what did I want to watch the other day? Resident Evil, because I love Mila a lot. She's one of my faves. Lilu? She'll be Lilu to me. But, and then I found out that like Resident Evil was not directed by Uwe Boll like we thought. It was actually directed by Paul Anderson, who actually also directed Event Horizon. So I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought. But whatever. I have a whole idea for a show called the Esoteric Movie Review, where we go over like all the different directors, all the different actors who played certain, roles, and then like connect them in like a weird way, and then like the dates when the movies came out. But I don't have time to do that right now. I know there's stuff to do. But if you're interested in that, let me know if you're a big like movie buff person when it comes to that kind of thing. Because my hubby, he's not as big into reading as I am. I love reading. I love like I can read a book in like a long book, and I'm a speed reader too, like really, really fast. I share a lot of stuff with Babs when it comes to like that memory. What she calls it eidetic memory. You could also call it photographic memory. I can remember things really, really well, like after reading it kind of once. So that came in really, I do need a podcast team, and I'd love to pay them richly. I'd love to have, for us to have some like really beautiful office up in the Rocky Mountains, right? Um, Remote pirate radio station, scramble the signal, we have a little area for, oh, my dream too. I had a dream about like, because out here near in downtown Toronto, there's not a lot of wilderness, but we are near the Don River, and there are some trees here. And I saw a falcon the other day. And the little birdies that I feed every morning, little chickadees, they all started to freak out because, they could be eaten. But bird sightings, they always, birds are messengers, right? You're messengers between realms. Doesn't matter if it's blackbirds, such as ravens and crows, are more so known as this kind of messenger. But all birds typically symbolize a message from another realm, right? So I was like, oh, what does this mean? And so red heron, I like noticed that like you like to be a heron, and heron, there's a song like Colors of the Wind by in Pocahontas, and there's a line in there where Pocahontas says the heron and the otter are my friends, and we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends, something like that. So I don't know, that all just came to me in that like spotting of things. And so I was just like, that's so amazing. That's means something, right? So, and there are a lot, like think of the birds of prey, right? Batgirl and Black Canary, and your totem animals and things to kind of think at. Nightwing is he's hanging out with Bitewing. So, fun fact, Nightwing has a doggo. He's a three-legged doggo named Bitewing. Super cute. Love it. So fun fact, hi Pikachu, welcome to the live. I'm Barbara Gordon. So I've been going through my own personal mental health crisis lately, which is why I haven't been able to get my ish together, so to speak, when it comes to like publishing my book and a whole bunch of other stuff that I like, the school and all that stuff, because my mental state was just not where it needed to be. And I had to come and like basically confront the fact that like what my mom was and wasn't, and all these kinds of things, right? Because we do carry a lot of, or I was and still do carry a lot of shame about what I went through in childhood, right? And so there's a lot of, lies that I've told people to cover up the fact of like how bad it was for me growing up, because I'm like those wolves and like those packs. Like I never wanted to, you don't want to show pain, because if you have pain, like you get left behind, right? So I have derived a lot of comfort from putting on cosplay, putting on characters like a lot of these girls have, these ladies have, in order to find resilience and strength to keep fighting forward, right? Hi, Papa Dave. Ivy has, even Ivy, yeah. So I had to go through a lot. I did a lot of talking with my sister, um, really opening up with my hubby about being like, this happened to me as a kid. Like, this happened. This is from my perspective, being from here, and I'm just going to be honest about it. And it's hard, you guys, like, because bad memories, I know that we all have them. Lucky you if you don't. Um, but, they're always there. And Nightwing actually, he has this conversation with this kid in a comic book I read once where, because if you guys aren't familiar, Dick Grayson, he's part of like the Flying Graysons, trapeze family, right? He loses his entire family, right? It's a mob thing. So this is why he becomes the ward of Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne raises him. They both have a shared trauma bond of basically losing their parents. Um, and Nightwing tells this little boy, who I think also loses his family, because the little boy asks him, like, does it ever like stop hurting? Does the pain, like, does it go away? And Nightwing says, it doesn't. It gets easier, right? But like, it's always going to be there. And I relate to that, right? It's kind of like you never just forget certain people you've lost, right? Or heartbreak you've had. It just, you get stronger. It gets easier. You love again. You laugh again. But it doesn't mean you ever stop missing. It doesn't stop hurting, right? At least for me. And I've realized that like I am just the type of person who feels things really deeply. And so I've had to just learn how to deal with all of it, right? And so my message to you guys, we're going to read actually something from Multiversity, which deals with like a sensitive topic, right? And it's crazy, right? Like how sometimes certain topics get censored, but then how do we ever actually talk about them, right? Mental health is so misunderstood. We, I think of even like Britney Spears, for example, right? I loved her so much. Like I was talking about like my belly button piercing in terms of her, and like the lowrider jeans that I grew up with and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, since all this stuff happened with her dad and the conservatorship and all that kind of stuff, it's like okay to laugh at her almost like having a mental breakdown, right? Like, ha ha ha, so funny. Like, yeah, like we did that to her, like not we, but you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like these things where we're so, we think that because people are celebrities or because they're on a certain thing that we don't have to be empathetic or compassionate. Like they're not human beings to either, right? And so the way we treat them is also like how we're treating ourselves on a level, right? If we were ever in that kind of position. So I look at this in relating it today to today's chat. So today I went to get my belly button re-pierced. I'm not sad. I'm just going through my memories and this is why I'm live tonight with you guys, because reading comic books with you guys has brought me a lot of joy, right? Because when times get tough in this universe, you can always run into a lot of these universes, right? And a lot of them are scary, and a lot of them are falling apart, and a lot of them need a lot of help, but they only come to life when you read them, right? They only come to life through you activating the stories, right? So that's the importance of you and you being here and just having the courage that it is to exist, because it's not easy. So yeah, I got my belly button pierced today. Yeah, re-pierced. Went well. I went to a place on Queen Street called Calibri. Am I saying their name right? But every Tuesday they do $25 piercings, and I got my belly button pierced with titanium jewelry because about a year ago I had an infection because I was dumb and I used cheap ass jewelry in my belly button ring, and because it looked pretty on the outside, like costume jewelry, but it wasn't good. So there's like a moral lesson I feel in this, right? How like all that glitters is not always gold, right? I need actual real gold, actual quality material, otherwise my body will react to it. And so that's something to be when you're looking at things that are counterfeit, even when we think of like counterfeit relationships, or when, like think of all the different Batgirls. If someone is worthy of holding a mantle in your universe, only you get to decide that. And so when it comes to like the differences between, the movie universes and the comic book universes, it's funny, right? Because if you think about the comic books, so this is Multiversity. It's actually a comic book originally owned by my baby sister, and she's the Wonder Woman in my life. Just because she's super strong at the gym. When we go to the gym together, her deadlift is something crazy, and her like squat, so also like 200 pounds. I don't know, she's like an ant. However, I do think that the panels, let me just see if I can flip to what I'm going to read you guys tonight. We have like my Mary Marvel is going to come soon too. The Living Lightning. I've read from here before. This has also got all the different universes, right? You've got like the universes, like all the Amazonian women, right? Take over the world. Also like the demon universes, the evil universes, the crime syndicate universes. Well, universe. I wanted to read The Just to you guys, which is a world that doesn't really need superheroes anymore. Oh, perfect. Good, I found it. And I'm going to read it just because I have read it to you guys before, and I didn't have as much context before because I didn't know a lot of these characters as much in depth to understand the second generation hero relationship dynamics, but I do now, so here we go. Aren't you in Gotham? I am in Gotham. Remember Barbara Gordon also is Oracle, and Oracle has eyes everywhere, right? Let me uncensor that. Oh my gosh, I liked my own live. That's really funny. I was just trying to... Oh, and Pikachu just again. Pika Pika. Welcome to the live, guys. Family dog, I feel like, is always great to have around, right? They help to protect the energy of the space, right? Spaces that you have your loved ones in. We just have to be aware of frequency, vibration, keeping that all protected. It's more than just like physical, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the read. I'm going to read you guys Multiversity. Oh, hey, Robin. How's it going? Which Robin are you? Dun, 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 dun. Just like, which Batgirl am I? I would love to do a Cassandra Cain Batgirl, though, actually. Or, just like how I'm trying to do something with all the different Supergirl cosplayers, like a Batgirls United kind of thing. Or, because that's the beauty of what the multiverse opens up when it comes to these writers talking about things in this way. It gives more flexibility to the imagination, right? There is room for everybody's favorite version of their heroes, right? It doesn't mean that like mine's the only one and mine's the best and yours sucks. Like, that's not really the way love works, right? So let's go, my friends. This is the Just. This is a world where it's like the second generation, so the sons and daughters. You'll appreciate this, Gwen Stacy, actually, this read, because it's like daughters and sons of the first generation legends of the DC universe, right? So, you can see here, like, I don't know, like, this is back in the day, back when Tiger Beat was a thing. I used to have posters of like 98 Degrees and Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and and you'd have like Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon. Everyone is like, oh, he's so hot, he's so dreamy, he's so famous. So me and my friends were boy crazy. And so this, in this world, kind of like The Boys, superheroes are also celebrities. So let's go. Earth, me, Alexis, Smiley. So Alexis, just so you guys know, let me move this way. This way? No, this way. Just trying to make sure that I'm in frame. Gorgeous. So Alexis, in case you don't know, is Lex Luthor's daughter. And Alexis is in a relationship with Batman's son, which is not approved by Superman. So anyways, that's your backstory you're going to get right now. So other things on this cover that you can see are Sasha rebounding. And I forget who Sasha's supposed to be in this. We'll find out soon. I'm going to party Jakeem Thunder right out of my life. And then down here, Superman and Batman, of course, are the ultimate bromance. Give me that. The world's finest bromance over. Look at the gossip seating. And Con-El, don't call me Superboy. But can he make it in the art world? And then Arrowette, I'm not daddy's little girl anymore. See her sexy photo shoot for Maximus. And our Arrowette is Green Arrow's little girl. And Green Arrow makes an appearance in this too as like dad. It's kind of funny. Ollie tries to be, concerned father figure, which kind of, I don't know if it works very well for him. Okay, here we go. The atoms in my bloodstream the atom is in my bloodstream right now as we speak. There's no way I'm ruining my own super party with some disgusting technovirus. Location, Malibu, California. I have to think of something super, super sad in the next 10 minutes. That's what I'm saying. I have this total techno-viral horror thing from space, and I have to perform my ultimate escape from its clutches. Intense sadness could flood my amygdala with hormones and kill it dead, but I've got zero to be sad about. So Sister Miracle, Sasha Norman. I wonder if Sister Miracle is related to Mr. Terrific. Could be. Anyways. And then location, Metropolis. How about this? We're all doomed and there's nothing we can do about it and everything else is just a joke on us. Has any superhero ever committed suicide before Sasha? Megamorpho, Safi Mason, Sasha's friend. What? I don't think so. And then, so that makes me the first. Cool. And then she jumps and Sasha's like, what the heck are you talking about? What? And Adam is in her bloodstream amongst the red blood cells at the time, which is kind of crazy. I had a friend do this as well. Like, I have a story about that later. That's not for now. As I said, this is a sensitive topic. Trigger warning in case. The Adam, Ray Palmer, is Sasha's friend. What the hell just happened? Every single techno site just died. Sash? What's your take on the whole comic books might be a art thing, Damien? Location. We're now back in Gotham City, hometown, rep, what? And then, does this look like art to you? Alexis Luthor, Batman's girlfriend. What are you talking about? What take? I don't have a take. Batman. So this is Damian Wayne. So I think, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but Damian Wayne is Talia and Bruce's son, right? Like Ra's al Ghul, Talia, that whole thing. Yeah. Oh, Zach, don't mind. Gwen Stacy makes a lot of like custom characters in the world. Like, I'm sure, how should I explain it? Like, for example, like I have some custom characters like in D&D and stuff, right? But you can use them to be empowered in other worlds as well. So, Gwen Stacy likes to play in like the DC world and makes custom characters based on characters that are canon sometimes. Yeah. Uh yes. So Zach, you're so, you're so funny. So it's like that when we're playing along on the school ground, right? Of like, oh, I'm playing from like this universe. And just like even in this, right? If we think about the 52, the new 52 that were created out of like Crisis and what was for like, you know, destroyed in Crisis and remade, um, nothing is ever truly like snapped out of existence, right? To quote Dr. Manhattan, like nothing ever really ends, right? Everything's always just happening. Hello, Batgirl. Oh, Philadelphia Catwoman here. Hi, Philly Catwoman. I love Philly. Um, it's funny. Like, how fun would it be if like every major city? Because if I think about like Gotham, it tends to be one of those like templates of those like, the darker side of the city, like um, deep at night. Who protects the night? Also, too, fun fact. Babs, Barbara, Catwoman, I gotta thank you for your fashion inspiration because her mask is the inspiration behind Batgirl's mask. So there you go, right? Okay, here we go. So we are now in Gotham City, and now remember, in the purposes of this story, the comic book itself is also like a plot device, right? So it also functions in this world as like a map and as, you know, Alexis Luthor is telling Damien that like, does this look like art to you? And remember, art and magic have a lot in common and like how you open up portals and stuff. So what are you talking about? What take? I don't have a take, says Batman. Damian Wayne. I'm the Batman. You should see this. And Alexis just ignores him, saying, I saw it online. They're from another boring universe, and they've decided to invade reality, etc., etc., etc. Meanwhile, I'm right here and you're deliberately ignoring my obvious physical and intellectual charms. Is Batman gay? 2,000 words by Wednesday students. Are you certain you don't want to see this spectacle? You really don't care. Real life is better than any comic book, and this only proves it. She's not interested. And then later, wow, whatever. You just like offending people. Oh, hi, Robin. Thank you for the heart me, you guys. And welcome. Barbara Gordon here. Welcome to the Watchtower. We're reading Multiversity. We're doing The Just, which we're in a world where it's like second-gen superheroes where like they're basically really bored because crime has been stamped out. So like the superheroes really have like nothing to do, right? So what do we do in a world where like you don't need superheroes anymore? I guess you just become celebrities. But Batman's onto something here. He's like, something's amiss. Something is fishy. Something is rotten in the state of Gotham City. And he says, you just like offending people, don't you? Tsk. Nobody cares about anything anymore. Oh, I'm not in this. That's the thing about Barbara, right? So I have a lot. I was originally going to. Oh, this is a nice. Let me pause for a quick commercial break to talk about my other reads. So if you go onto my YouTube I'm organizing a lot of my stuff, but I have Batgirl, Birds of Prey, Quarantine, a plague on Gotham's houses with this lineup of the Birds of Prey, Black Canary, and Helena Bertinelli in this case. And then, of course, the completion. Wait, no, I think this is the beginning and then this is the end. But I have both of those reads as Batgirl and Black Canary on my YouTube if you want to grab that. I was trying to do a read, another Batgirl read tonight, but then I just thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring this back around to Multiversity because I have a new Supergirl cosplay coming very soon too. So there's a few things coming up that are new versions of heroes that I've already cosplayed as before, but different versions of them. So I was like, that's a fun thing, because if we think of even like Batman in this, like think of all the different Batmans that exist, right? All the different types of versions of them. And if we think of the Burton movieverse, I didn't really get into this, right? But there's actually like like a lost Batgirl movie that I think is supposed to exist between Batman Forever, like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, like, and Danny DeVito's Penguin. That movie, there was supposed to be a Batgirl movie with Michael Keaton's Batman in it. I have to go back and see, and the girlie in it, I think she's like mixed race or something like that too, which I'm like, so am I. I also relate to Barbara Gordon in a lot of ways just because of her relationship with her dad, Commissioner Gordon, and how he's like the one good cop, just like how like my dad was working in the university. He's like, like a good teacher. He didn't get like caught up in the whole like institution, like didn't play the game, didn't let his like, work for the bad guys, which is like, it happens, right? And I think there's a lot of shades of gray in Gotham. And Penguin, speaking of shades of gray, it's like you heard me talk about you. All right, let's continue onward. I would battle tonight, but I gotta drop off pretty soon. But tomorrow, I think we'll be back with some music, and I also have to finish filming my trailer for the movie funding that I'm doing, and a lot more new live streaming shows coming your way as I upgrade a lot of the equipment and stuff on my end. So putting on Pinwing is always live at night on TikTok. He lives in Arizona. I gotta connect with everybody. We should have like a weekly Gotham thing. I don't know what you want to call it. Gotham late night, something like that. And we have like a topic or some sort of like, there's a way of doing it in kind of like a fun way, I think. If we're in like different locations and like you just like, report. This happened. I need backup here, All right. Like, as this Batman guy's looking out over the veranda being like, what's going on? So, see here. He says, for truth. So I'm reading this thing I read about on Trash Bat. It got hyped as one of the greatest and or worst Pictofix? Is that what they call them? Not comic books. Pictofix of all time. This ultra thing that just came out from DC Comics. They sold the rights to Omniversal Studios. It's a predatory story. Pictopic? What's wrong with calling them comic books? Wow. I bet the artists don't get a single dime. What's it about? It's supposed to be a haunted comic book. Imagine a postmodern Pinocchio super concept character who comes to life only when you read about him. Come back to me when I'm done with it. When do hipsters get into superhero books? Real life is much more interesting than any of this fictitious-ish, says you. So, what happened with the big invasion of Dimension Earth? Superman's robots got them. It was totally boring. You were right. Alexis Luthor is never, ever wrong. She kind of reminds me of Cassandra Nova in the Marvel Universe, too. Pinning here now, look. Oh, yes. This mic is not the right mic for battles because when I have it plugged in, I cannot hear you guys. So when I battle, I have a different mic set up. So that's why I need to know that ahead of time when it happens. Silly Catwoman. Okay, let's finish off. We're actually not that far away. This is like an anthology from the different universes in, I guess it is the 52, the new 52, if I think about the way it's mapped out. But let's continue onward, my superhero friends. Remember, Lex Luthor's daughter, Alexis Luthor, and Batman's son, Damian Wayne, are a couple. I don't know. I guess I could see that working too. Let's see here. Alexis Luthor is never, ever wrong, darling. When I was growing up, I was punished for being wrong. So what did you expect? Well, I expected something to happen for once. So Batman, in a world where there is no crime, nothing to do, is bored. Of course, right? What this world needs an old school supervillain like my mom or my granddad. So remember Talia or Ra's al Ghul? So he's like, what this world needs is an old-fashioned supervillain to liven it up. What's so special about this piece of Picto-Pick? There's a curse on anyone who reads it. You believe in curses, don't you? No superstitious, cowardly lot. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I do. So Batman actually does believe in curses. And actually, I do too. This idea sometimes of be aware of how powerful your words are and what we send out into the world, right? And just, you can take it back and stuff, but just be aware of that being out there, right? And protect yourself, that kind of good stuff. Okay. So Batman's not buying this whole cursed comic book situation. So basically, they found some postmodern way to make superheroes seem interesting. That's never going to happen. Our parents did their jobs too well. They left us a world without challenges. So Damian Wayne is by far the most annoying Robin to me. If you ever watch the animated show, there's scenes of Nightwing training him and stuff, and Damian's kind of a little snot. It's I already know how to do everything. I'm a genius. Blah blah. But it's funny, him as the Batman being that's a very interesting thing to say, and I kind of agree with that. You do need challenges to grow. So their parents, basically rid the world from anything that would make superheroes needed, right? So he is the worst. I agree with you, Red Aaron, yeah. But he does say, I agree with him here. They left us a world without challenges. And Alexis says, this be the verse. Best poem ever. No matter how hard they try to do the right thing, parents always screw up. My dad once told me when I was 3 years old, your dad told you that people were mere insects permitted to live only by the grace of his intellect alone. Your dad was Lex Luthor. What am I going to do? Take advice from that? The ultimate criminal mastermind. Well, was he wrong? Come here, you bat-faced freak. And then, I guess that's foreplay for them because And they get down. Down, chicka, wow, wow. And then as they're getting down, or afterwards, or in the midst of it, I'm a mad, messed up mastermind's daughter, Damien. I don't care if the world burns to red ash. That's why I read comic books and watch zombie apocalypse movies. And that's what I love about you, Lexi. You're sick and you're twisted. All that stuff that Batman likes. What an odd conversation. Yeah, all you boys are so obvious in every way. You are a psycho mess. A psycho mess, Lexi. Admit it. Admit it. Uh-oh. Huh? So he stops. They're midway through their tryst, and Batman's like, wait a minute. I hear Superman. What the hell is he doing here? You gotta hide, Lexi. But, so he puts her in the closet. And then, stay out of sight. My coat is lead-laced. My coat is lead-laced. I'll get rid of him. So he just happens to have a coat that's lead-laced. Because, just so you guys don't know, if you guys aren't aware, I think Superman's not able to see through lead, right? That's why sometimes, bad guys will sneak kryptonite in a lead-laced box, so you won't be able to see through it, right? And then Superman, Chris Kent, there's a few of Superman's sons running around, like Connor Kent, anyways. So he shows up, flying in, saying, "What's up, Damien? Your heart, it's racing. Are you happy to see me?" Maybe that is why. Working out, exercise, practice, superhero stuff. You said you were taking a time out in space, so he's just changing the subject. But his heart is racing because he was just getting down with Alexis, and now she's in the closet in a lead-laced coat. You said you were taking time out in space. I came back early from space. It's not so far away. I need your help, Damien. I can't just change my plans. Plans? This is serious. I get you're not into any of this, but Mega Morpho just killed herself, and nobody knows why, which means we actually have a super mystery here on our hands. Your dad's robot Superman army can deal with it. They deal with everything. Remember? I can hear breathing. Megamorpho was her code name. You didn't even know her actual name, did you? So if you guys remember the beginning of the story where she had some sort of virus, and that's what caused her to jump off the building while she still had Adam inside of her, and they don't know why she did this. It was almost like something short-circuited. But Superman is now over saying that there's a mystery because they don't know why this happened to her. And Batman's just trying to change the subject because Superman's I hear breathing. What the heck is going on? And Batman's you don't even know her real name, do you? What was the real name of the deceased, Chris? And I guess you do. You know her real name. You always know everything, right, Batman? Safi. Her name was Sapphire. Sapphire Mason. She was Megamorpho to me. She was one of us. She was a superhero. It's not my fault my dad left behind the most foolproof and sophisticated planetary defense system ever created. It's not my fault it put everyone out of work. I should have thought about it, but the super robots can't be turned off or even tampered with. Even if they could, I can't break my promise to my dad. Did I tell you about my team up with the Sandman? What Sandman? The Sandman? Neil Gaiman's Sandman? Go ahead. Tell me, says Batman. I fell asleep and it was this whole ultimate dreams of Superman thing. I dreamed of all the things I do, well, if there was anything left to do, that is. It was like a Christmas Carol, but with Sandman. And that was your big team up with Sandman. You fell asleep and you had a dream. You have to ruin everything. We should take up Wally West's offer to join the Justice League. I don't know what's wrong with you. We're the world's finest, Chris. Why would we join the Justice League? Oh, sorry, Pokey. I was going through some things lately. Happy birthday, by the way. It's funny how you put it, though, Pokey. I will message you something separately on Discord about what's been going in my life lately. As I've been trying to organize and reorganize things. The hearts made funny sounds when I leveled up. Oh, fun. I love it. And cheers to leveling up, you guys, all in life as we go through certain challenges together, which is why I'm also got Barbara on, just because, you know, she's gone through some ultimate, like, messed up ish and still, like, came out fighting the other side, right? So cheers to all of you guys who are still fighting out there. Okay, so Superman, or rather, this version of Superman, so Christopher Kent, he was talking about his team up with Sandman, and Batman was basically just kind of like shitting on it. Being like, so you fell asleep, you had a dream, that was your big team up. To me, I'm like, you know what, there's lots of comic books that pretty much are just like, and it was all a dream, but dreams are very important, especially in like comic book land and in most like storytelling devices. It's not all like Wizard of Oz, basically the whole thing is a dream, right? But is it? Dun dun dun. Okay. So here, Wally West wants them to join the Justice League. Batman is like, I don't wanna. We're the world's finest, you and me. Also, like, what are we gonna do? Because there's nothing to do because your dad made a bunch of robots. They made it so we live in a world that you don't actually need superheroes. So, we're the world's finest, Chris. Why would we join the Justice League? You want something to do? How about provoke the fifth dimensionals? The last time you suggested this, the whole thing was a setup. I was punked by you and Mrs. Mystipic. Oh yeah, I remember. Why are you trying to distract me? Anyways, if this is about Sasha's party, I plan to be there. But Damien, there's a lead-lined coat in your closet, draped around a female figure. It's Alexis Luthor. You want me to tell Sasha I can't make her big party because Alexis will be there? Damien, don't you start on this. You check out Safi's apartment for clues. We'll swap notes in a few hours. If it wasn't for her dad, I would still have a dad. I can smell your girlfriend, Damien. You need to take this whole superhero thing way more seriously than you do. I'd take it more seriously if we had anything to do. You know why Safi committed suicide, don't you? Boredom. And then Superman flies off. Yeah, so crazy, right? Like, Superman's kind of like, I don't like you dating Lex Luthor's daughter because her dad killed my dad, basically, kind of thing. Oh yeah, so it's just like interesting how these, like, in this world, how those relationships all ended up turning out, right? I don't know. I don't really like Alexis. She's kind of annoying. You could, if this was done live action, if you had the right actress, you could kind of pull her off like how in Smallville, how Lex was, where he's like, oh, you can kind of see like, oh, you're kind of charming in a weird way, you know? Wonder Man on Disney TV. Yeah. Okay. So while this conversation is happening, Alexis, of course, can hear this in the lead line coat hiding in the closet, right? And she's like outraged. He's already 100 miles away. I don't have to catch up with him until 4 o'clock. Oh, you're not coming to Con L's gallery opening with me? Oh, and she's all mad. You'd rather hang out with him than me? I can't believe this. I feel like Alexis would be kind of like a terror girlfriend, like really stage 5 clinger. I don't know what you guys think as a girlfriend. Would you date Alexis Luthor? Thoughts? No art show. I'm banned from the party. What's next? Let's leave Alexis out of everything again because her because of what her dad did. Lexi, come on. He hates me. Your best friend, the world's most beloved superhero, hates me. Well, I mean, Alexis, come on. And you're kind of a biatch, just saying. Which means everybody hates me. I don't hate you, Lexi. Come on. We'll work it out. You're the smartest girl on the planet. You're better than this. And Superman's okay. He's just got this thing about his dad being dead thanks to your dad. Why don't you and Chris finally admit you just love each other? You love each other, Batman. Don't expect me to put up with this. I am going to get even. Oh, well. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. That's on you, Damien, getting like down with Lexi like that. And then she's gone. Tsk, now what? Caller, come in. Location, Malibu, California. Hey, Damien, are you guys coming to my party? If I don't get you and Chris, it'll be mass suicide. Oh, Zorby, thank you for that. I am not heartless. Safi and me were telebonding when this happened. I got some psychic flash of a big creepy space lady, but it looked like something from a horror movie she'd been watching. It's like, you know how like the cursed movies and stuff, cursed art, like the spirits that exist inside of it. That's basically what she's kind of getting at. I got so sad my technovirus died. Ray just finished cleaning out my veins. You want to talk to him? Oh, okay. This party? Do I get an invite? And then, flashing to Metropolis, Kyle Rayner, last of the Green Lanterns. There used to be thousands of you guys, right? Now the whole universe rests on one dude's shoulders. Epic. The art's so good these days. Before this superhero gig came up, my big dream was to be a major comics artist. So if you guys aren't familiar with Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, his alter ego in regular life, he's an artist, right? So he's a comic book artist. So it's kind of like one of those things where it makes sense that he'd have a Green Lantern ring to turn like anything from your imagination into reality. Bestial Behemoth, Future Family, The Rampaging Retaliators. Dude, I was so into Essential Retaliators, but the universe just got blown up in the Essential Genocide crossover. So they're talking about Major Comics, which I think is a play on Marvel Comics, but it's about just talking about comic books as a vehicle to story and reality and that kind of thing. So, Safi, she's gonna spring back to life again, won't she? Dude, please. Your girlfriend just killed herself. You're in shock. I can relate. It's all pretty dark and bloody these days, right? Dystopian. Yeah. You should check out the Essential Genocide crossover for more. Last issue, some kind of space demon wiped them all out. future family, the bug, the G-Men. Dude, you're into comics. So it's Offspring. Ernie O'Brien, Megamorpho's boyfriend. Ooh. Dun dun. Oh, Wolfie has entered the building. Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh, no, she's playing along. Don't worry, Pokey. All right, have a good night, Philadelphia Catwoman. I will follow. Make sure you're followed so we can have some like Gotham parties coming up. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for a few more panels, and then I'll say goodnight, you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. So Offspring. I feel like Offspring is. Anyways, he's the boyfriend of Sapphire, who has died. And so Green Lantern, he's saying like the bug, that was a movie, right? Do people still read superhero comic books? It was this Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, asking this question. Green Lantern, hey, is everybody here? Slow news day, Superman. First the regular cops, then us. We've been over every inch. I just spoke to Offspring. He's basically in shock. Understandable. No suicide note, no reason. And so we've got Green Arrow, Connor Hawk. All the ladies love Connor too, actually. So wait, there's Arrowette and then there's Connor Hawk. Are they related to each other? Are they? Okay, anyways, we'll see. Anyone know a Green Arrow? Actually, I have a Green Arrow. We'll do that. Looking good, Lantern. Gym membership paid off. I haven't seen you at meetings for a while, Connor. Interesting. You up for it later? We're doing Red Amazo Crisis. Was I even there for that one? Look, I have a super hot date with Lady Shiva at Planet Krypton later. I'll do what I can, Kyle. Remember when we were kids? All of this meant something. Have you seen this stuff? When did comic books get so creepy? Creepy? When we were kids, the bad guys were scary. Now their kids are our kids' best friends. I don't get why Con-El is acting so weird. So now we're at Con-El. I think he's like the clone of Superman, so he's like kind of slowly turning Bizarro, which is like what happens to Kryptonians when they're cloned. So we're in Metropolis, the Suicide Slum Art Gallery. He used to like screech metal bands. Now it's the complete opposite. You know why that is. Con-El is a clone of Superman engineered by my genius dad, says Alexis Luthor. You know what happens to all Superman clones. Oh my God. Con-El is turning Bizarro. And that's Harlequin, Jill Scott, Alexis's friend. But Harlequin, not spelled Harley Quinn, but Harlequin, all one word. So she must be related to Harley Quinn, right? Look at him. You think that's drink and drugs? He'll get away with claiming his Tourette's and K poisoning for another 6 months. Now after that, that's awful. That's actually really cool. I hope they're crossing him off Sasha's super party list, just like they crossed me off. Security's impregnable. Are you kidding? Con-El's a major hero in the art world. Follow me. Check it out. Though they look at the art, and the art ends up being like the bad guys from the other universes, like the other weird, like interdimensional demon things. What gave you the idea for this one, Con-El? Who's the creepy lady? She came in a dream, cough, cough. Ugly art am good. I don't know, he kind of does sound like he's turning Bizarro. He's like talking in opposites. Hawk, hawk. Sorry, vapor, inhale, ye. Happens all the time. So we got Superboy, Con-El. That's Gray Lady. Loads of people dream about her. It's a phenomenon. Is that Green Arrow's daughter? She's like 12 or something. And I bet she's invited to Sasha's party. This whole thing gives me an amazing idea. Oh, thanks for the rose, Sammy. Ha 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 ha. And then, location, Nevada desert. Are you ready? So, because we're in a world where there's no actual crime, the Justice League just does like big reenactions of like past battles that already happened. So I'm just going to read you this one last panel and then I'm going to say goodnight, you guys. This is Barbara. And if you want to catch my Batgirl readings, you can get that on my YouTube channel. These two with Quarantine, where all the DC ladies get together, team up to figure out who is behind, making the men in Gotham sick, and they get together, right? I will tell Wolfie that. Much love. Thanks, Gwen Stacy. Isn't it funny? Because it's a world, think of it, it's an alternate universe. And it's a way of like playing with parameters of reality and like stretching your imagination, right? Always good, right? Jaren, thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll end off here. Kyle Rayner is a pretty cool Green Lantern though, you guys. And it's a fun little play on here too about how comic books, they themselves are like a portal into another world, and in this world they too read comic books. Superheroes also read comic books. So what does that mean, right? As all of you who are also artists and bringing things into life, and what is real, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so location, Nevada desert, the Justice League. Are you ready? Red Amazo has absorbed the powers of the entire league. It's Doomsday Plus. Now you will die. Red Amazo, killer android bastard. I don't remember any of this, says Green Arrow. I don't know if I was there for the original battle, but this is what I would have done if I had been there. Explosive arrow. Catch. As I recall, 'twas I who deserved or delivered the blow decisive, the coup de grace. Ancient Roman warcraft versus tomorrow's technology. So Alpha Centurion, Marcus Aelius, right, shows up. I'm not familiar with any of these guys. So they're just reenacting it, but what ends up happening is an actual accident happens, and they're like, oh, people are actually getting hurt. And then Green Arrow, who's like, old vet from the time before when they actually had people to fight, is like, if we don't actually train, you don't actually practice, then you're going to fall out of practice when we actually do have to deal with an actual crisis, right? And same thing kind of goes in our life, right? When we talk about, being prepared, practice, all these kinds of things, even though, like, I've heard the saying of, like, better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, something like that. So just to have preparedness about these kinds of things, your inner peace, and as you're going about your superhero life, just taking the time to have a bit of like fun in your life and certain practices that so you can like rest the cognitive state as a little while when they have tantrums. Oh, thanks, Carter. I hope that I can eventually start a new kind of like school in the future. I have dreams of that. Still needs to kind of be worked out organizationally in my head because we're in fun times cosmologically. So stay tuned for all that. I'm glad you got a haircut. And so cheers to all of you guys. Thanks for joining me for Multiversity. I have some replays coming up for the Cosmic Comic Book Club if you want to be tuned in for that. We do have Superhero School, which I do have information on my Linktree. Will be updating a lot of that kind of stuff tomorrow. So stay tuned for all of that. And you guys, remember, I'm going to leave you now with what I always leave you, which is that it takes true courage for you guys to be exactly you in the cosmic game of life. So be sure to play as exactly you because the universe is counting on you. but I've got your back. And thank you, red haired. I am feeling a lot better. But to any of you guys who deal with like high emotions, all of that kind of stuff, develop some practices. Take your rest when you need to. Like listen to yourself, right? Just because no one sees you doing anything and you're not being productive, like maybe you are doing a lot of stuff inner work. So like journal, self-care, breathe, take a walk in like the forest, like touch the ground, touch grass, that kind of stuff. Whatever you need to do, listen to the right kind of music, do it, because it's heavy times in the sense of like change, right? Change is always scary, but it can be exciting too. So ride the waves, my friends. All right, guys, until next time, Barbara Gordon, Babs, Batgirl. Till next time, signing out. Oh, thanks for the roses last minute. Appreciate that, Lambert. And when will I be back for sure? Because well, technically it's Wednesday. So more to come very soon. The schedule for my live stream will also be officially posted as a post tomorrow, hopefully. All right, guys. Bye.